Hey y'all, how are you? I bet nobody's even gonna know. I did a little surprise, impromptu, little live, because here I am, guys. I'm behind, and I scheduled my own little doohickey book reading, and I ain't even done. I am on, let's see, I'm still on Mole's Whale, that chapter. I think it's chapter 6. I'm so freaking far behind. I don't even know if I can make it, y'all, till, you know, uh chapter 8 of my own book discussion. And if anybody thinks I'm making fun of anybody right now, well, honey, although this is not my true southern accent, I do have one. It's a little suppressed, but I promise, when I was growing up, I used to pronounce it cement. Yeah, I thought that was the right pronunciation of such a word, but turns out when I was about 10 years old, and this dude from way up yonder, we like to call them Yankees down here, but I think that's weird because I'm part Yankee. I was I was born in the New England, so you know that Yankee. He was laughing at me because he couldn't understand what I said, and I was like, "What do you mean? You know that hard stuff on the ground that cars drive on?" And he's like, "Oh, you mean cement?" And I was like, is that how it's pronounced? Because honest to God, I thought it was cement because everyone that I grew up around pronounced it that way. It all comes out in the wash, doesn't it? Hmm. So, yes, I'm just kind of doing this to entertain myself, honestly, and to read aloud a little bit. And as I read, I'm going to even do a little craft to do, and I didn't turn this little buddy on right here. Oh gosh. So if you ever wondered what it's like hanging out at the Do Good Letters while JC's by herself, this is what it's like. I'd be talking to myself like this whether anybody was listening or not. In fact, it's a little bit more fun when nobody is except for my dog who's currently staring at me like I'm the wackadoo that I am. All right, I'm going to keep on reading here. So I just kind of started a little bit on chapter 6 here. There it is. There's my Florida. There's my Florida right there. It's coming out. I had a little South Carolina right there for a second. There's my. It's coming out a little bit. Florida right there. So we're gonna go where Phoebe's calling this one chicken an odd little chicken, and she says, "Here, you odd little chicken." See, I said she was going to say that in a regular old psychic here. She said, "Here are some nice crumbs for you." The chicken hereupon thought almost as venerable in appearance as its mother, possessing indeed the whole antiquity of progenitors in miniature. Oh, just to warn you two, I can't pronounce stuff with a hoot, so this is going to be real interesting. That's not even a dig at my southern heritage. That's just regular old JC words. I don't really know them. All right, let's see. So that little fowl pays you a high compliment, said a voice behind Phoebe. Turning quickly, she was surprised at a sight of a young man who found access into the garden by a door opening out of another gable than that whence she had emerged. He held a hoe in his hand. That's an actual garden tool, folks. While he held a hoe in his hand, and while Phoebe was gone in quest of the crumbs, had begun to busy himself with drawing up fresh earth about the roots of the tomatoes. I have a friend who's pretty obsessive about tomatoes, and you can hear such on her channel called Claire S. Bear. I don't know, I think she might need to go see somebody about her tomato obsession, but I'll leave that up to you guys. All right. The chicken really treats you like an old acquaintance, continued he in a quiet way, while a smile made his face pleasanter than Phoebe at first fancied it. That means she thought he was a little ugly duckling at first. Those venerable personages in the coop, too, seemed very affably disposed. You are lucky to be in their good graces so soon. They have known me much longer, but never honor me in any familiarity, though hardly a day passes without my bringing them food. Miss Hepzibah, I suppose, will interweave the fact with her other traditions, and set it down that the fowls know you to be a pension. The secret is, said Phoebe, smiling, that I have learned to talk with these hens and chickens. Oh, a little pecky hen gossip. Ah, but these hens, answered the young man, these hens of aristocratic lineage would scorn to understand the vulgar language of a barnyard fowl. He called them white trash guys. I prefer to think, and so would Miss Hepzibah, that they recognize the family tone, for you are a pension. My name is Phoebe Pension, said the girl with a manner of some reserve, for she was aware that her new acquaintance could be no other than the daguerreotypist, they take pictures, guys, of whose lawless propensities the old maid had given her a disagreeable idea. I did not know that my cousin Hepzibah's garden was under another person's care. Yes, said Holgrave, I dig and hoe and weed in this black old earth for the sake of refreshing myself with what little nature and simplicity may be left in it, after men have so long sown and reaped here. I turned up the earth by way of pastime. My sober occupation, so far as I have any, is with a lighter material. In short, I make pictures out of sunshine. And not to be too much dazzled with my own trade, I have prevailed with Miss Hepzibah to let me lodge in one of these dusty gables. It is like a bandage over one's eyes to come into it. But would you like to see a specimen of my productions? That sounds a little bit, naughty, does it not? Daguerreotype likeness, you mean? Asked Phoebe, with less reserve, for in spite of prejudice, her own youthfulness sprang forward to meet his. I don't much like pictures of that sort. They are so hard and stern, besides dodging away from the eye and trying to escape altogether. They are conscious of looking very um, oh my gosh, I got stuck on a word. Let's sound it out, okay? Just like regular old first graders. Unamiable, I suppose, and therefore hate to be seen. If you would permit me, said the artist, looking at Phoebe, I should like to try whether the daguerreotype can bring out disagreeable traits on a perfectly amiable face. But there certainly is truth in what you have said. Most of my likeness do look unamiable. I think they are trying to just stress me out with that word. What do you guys think? Hawthorne has come back from the dead and was like, JC, I just want to annoy you. So I'm going to just sprinkle some more of these words in here. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that word means, and I can't quite look it up right now because I don't have a dictionary near me, and I am on the phone live streaming, and I do believe that if I get out of this tab while I'm live streaming, the whole thing goes to poot, and I don't want to poot on you. That's just rude. Okay. I know the face, she replied, for its stern eye has been following me about all day. It is my Puritan ancestor who hangs yonder in the parlor. To be sure, you have found some way of copying the portrait without its black velvet cap and grey beard, and have given him a modern coat and satin cravat instead of his cloak and band. I don't think him improved by your alterations. Ooh, shady, shady McShaderson. Let's see what else is going to go on in this conversation. You would have seen other differences had you looked a little longer, said Hallgrave, laughing yet apparently much struck. Oh, I think they're going to get together later. What do you guys think? I think this is a little, a little insulting foreplay, if you will. I can assure you that this is a modern phase and one which you will very probably mate. Now, the remarkable point is that the original wears, to the world's eye, and for aught I know to his most intimate friends, an exceedingly pleasant countenance, indicative of benevolence, openness of heart, sunny good humor, and other praiseworthy qualities without cast. The sun, as you see, tells quite another story. Ooh, is that a little symbolic there? Like light. The sun sheds light on the truth, on dark places. I'm going to take a little sip of coffee, not condi, coffee as I contemplate this. I'm going to take another one. I do apologize if this just disagrees with your ears. A little ASMR, as they call it for you, okay? So the sun, as you see it, tells quite another story and will not be coaxed out of it. Ooh, the truth is the truth no matter what, people. After a half dozen patient attempts on my part, here we have the man sly, subtle, hard, imperious, and withal cold as ice. Look at that eye. Would you like to be at its mercy? At that mouth? Could it ever smile? And yet, if you could only see the benign smile of the original, it is so much the more unfortunate as he is a public character and of some eminence, and the likeliness was intended to be engraved. Well, I don't wish to see it any more, observed Phoebe, turning away her eyes. It is certainly very like the old portrait, but my cousin Hepzibah has another picture, a miniature. If the original is still in the world, I think he might defy the sun to make him look stern and hard. You have seen that picture, then, exclaimed the artist, with an expression of much interest. I never did, but have a great curiosity to do so, and you judge favorably of the face. Now, ladies and gents, they keep talking about this picture and the difference between the two so much. I'm beginning to think there is some sort of reason that they're mentioning it. But the thing is, I don't get it yet. Okay, so there you go. If anybody else does, if anybody just happens to randomly be in the chat, I can't see a dang thing. I'm on my telephono, and I'm just rambling because I'm behind in the reading of my own book club. So I just thought I'd entertain myself, hold myself what they call accountable, and just read aloud to myself, or maybe the one eyeball that's listening right now. How are you, eyeball? I don't know who you are. I don't know who if you're here talking to me. I can't figure out the way to see if there's any chats. I can see the private chat, but you see, I don't think you're private. I think you're more of one of those public people. So I do apologize. And there's another eyeball. So now we have a pair of eyeballs in here. And again, forgive me for my southern accent. It's just coming out. And it's more entertaining to me to talk like this while I read aloud. And it helps me understand and retain what I am saying. It does make the neighbors question my sanity even more than they used to. But you see, I'm just old as crap and I just don't give, you know? Hey, Claire Bear, maybe I can see the chat. Hey, how are you? I'm bringing up my Southern heritage, reading aloud. I'm only in chapter 6 of the 8 chapters I asked all you to read so we could have a little book discussion. So I just decided to put myself online and read aloud and do a funny accent while I did, even though I do kind of have a southern accent. It's not as pronounced as this is, but best believe me, when I was down in Florida, it was a little more so. That part of Florida that's pretty much Alabama. That's where I come from. Yeah. All right. So we're getting back to Phoebe and Holgrave talking about that picture and the original and the miniature one. I don't know what that's all about. Let's see. There never was a sweeter one, said Phoebe. It almost too soft and gentle for a man's. I think she's calling him a little effeminate, and there ain't nothing wrong with that, is it? Boys can be beautiful too. I wish I was beautiful. I think I am. But, on days like today, it just ain't happening, friends. Is there nothing wild in the eye? Continued Hallgrave so earnestly that it embarrassed Phoebe, as did also the quiet freedom with which he presumed on their so recent acquaintance. He getting a little too, friendly. He just like, we're not there yet, buddy. Is there nothing dark or sinister anywhere? Could you not conceive the original to have been guilty of a great crime? It's nonsense, said Phoebe a little impatiently, for us to talk about a picture which you have never seen. You mistake it for some other. A crime, indeed, since you are a friend of my cousin Hepzibah's, you should ask her to show you the picture. It will suit my purpose still better to see the original, replied the daguerreotypist coolly. Hey, little doggy over there, you leave our kitty cat alone. He don't want to play with you right now. Okay, let's see how many weird accents I can do in 1 hour. As to his character, we need to discuss its points. They have already been settled by a competent tribunal, or one which called itself competent. But stay, do not go yet, if you please. I have a proposition to make you. Oh my, what is she gonna say? Hey guys, I'm just goofing off. I'm entertaining myself. Hey Puddle, I'm just reading aloud because I'm behind in my own book reading. So I'm just gonna read a little bit. I might not quite get to the 11:30. I don't know. I may have to reschedule again. I'm just so unreliable these days. All right, let's see. What is this proposition going to be? I'm a little scared. How about you guys? Phoebe was on the point of retreating, but turned back with some hesitation, for she did not exactly comprehend his manner. What's this bitch going to be about? I don't know. Although on better observation, its feature seemed rather to be lack of ceremony than any approach to offensive rudeness. There was an odd kind of authority, too, in what he now proceeded to say, rather as if the garden were his own than a place to which he admitted merely by Hepzibah's courtesy. He was like, hey, this is my place. You're going to stay here, and you're going to listen to me a minute. All right. If agreeable to you, he observed, it would give me pleasure to turn over these flowers and those ancient and respectable fowls to your care. Coming from fresh country air and occupations, you will soon feel the need of some such out-of-door employment. My own sphere does not so much lie among flowers. Is he saying he's too good for it and you're just the right kind of redneck to take care of a little petal? You can trim and tend them, therefore, as you please, and I will ask only the least trifle of a blossom now and then. I just want a little bit of your flower, I think he's saying, in exchange for all the good, honest kitchen vegetables with which I propose to enrich Miss Hepzibah's table. So we will be fellow laborers, somewhat of the community system. Uh-oh, Dunkin' Donuts. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Mm-mm. No, I'm Starbucks girl all the way. I have tried and tried to like Dunkin' Donuts, but I can't get past it tasting like a bit of shit. It's just a little too hard for me to get it past. I don't know. Should I make this an alter ego of mine? Come on sometimes and talk like Aunt Ethel or something like that? God, it's so hard for me to say aunt. That just does not sound right. Even in a little bit of fun, poking my Southern heritage here. I am part Yankee, so I do say aunt. I say aunt because, quite frankly, it's the correct pronunciation. Because you see, if you say aloud the word Taunt, you pronounce it, I'm sure, taunt, right? Because it has a U in it. They stuck that in there, and that's how they want it pronounced. So, when you take away that T, it doesn't take away the U. It just takes away the T. So you see, it's aunt. It is. It's not an ant. I do declare I don't know of any people in my family that look like an insect. I know some that look like a donkey. You know, like the whole ass thing. I don't really know any bugs in my family. But anyhow, I digress. Let's see, where was I? I'm probably not going to read all these chapters online because that would just be ridiculous. So I might Sparks Notes my own book reading, or maybe we might just do chapters 5 and 6 today, and then talk about something a little later on because I just can't get my SHIT together today, or this week, or this month, year, and my whole lifetime. But all right, let's go. Sasha, you are just scaring me. You are zoned in on something, and I just don't know what it is, and I don't want you to start a barking while I'm online. I'm annoying these sweet people enough. Yeah, that's a good girl. Just hush your mouth. All right, so we're getting back to him asking for her flower. Silently and rather surprised at her own compliance, Phoebe accordingly betook herself to weeding a flower bed. She just was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll pick a weed right here. You asked? There we go. I'll do it. Here we go. His character perplexed the little country girl as it might a more practiced observer, for while the tone of his conversation had generally been playful, the impression left on her mind was that of gravity, and except of his youth modified it, almost sternness. She rebelled, as it were, against a certain magnetic element in his artist nature, which he exercised towards her, possibly without being conscious of it. It might be him doing a little of that animal magnetism that they talked about earlier. What was it? How did they describe it? They may have described it as animal magnetism. I had to look that up. And do you know, I do declare, I believe that is where mesmerism and being mesmerized came from, that whole animal magnetism. It was brought up by someone with a last name Mesmer. I think that was his last name. And then it was like, hey, I think I got this powerful stuff flowing through my body and I can just control you. Kind of like the Force, but different, a little more creepy. Thank you, Puddle. I'm glad that you approve of my pronunciation of the word aunt. I mean, I think it's only absolutely the only correct way. Okay, let's go on a little bit. After a while, the twilight deepened by the shadows of the fruit trees, and the surrounding buildings threw an obscurity over the garden. There, said Holgrave, it is time to give over work. That last stroke of the hoe has cut off a beanstalk. Good night, Miss Phoebe Pinchen. Any bright day, if you will, put one of those rosebuds in your hair and come to my rooms in Central Street. What is he talking about, people? Is this getting a little 50 Shades right here? I will seize the purest ray of sunshine and make a picture of the flower and its wearer. Is he gonna draw her like one of his French girls? Is that what we got going on here? Heaven forbid. He retired towards his own solitary gable, but turned his head on reaching the door and called to Phoebe, which seemed to be more than half in earnest. Be careful not to drink at Moll's Well, said he. Neither drink nor bathe your face in it. Moll's Well? Answered Phoebe. Is that it with the rim of mossy stones? I have no thought of drinking there. But why not? Oh, rejoiced. I'm just going to say photographer from now on because I'm just really tired of trying to act like I know how to pronounce daguerreotypist because I just can't whether I'm playing around or not. Because like an old lady's cup of tea, it is water bewitched. Well, folks, my mama, she grew up drinking tea, and I'm not talking the sweet kind, even though when she did move down to the south where my father grew up, she does now drink a glass of sweet tea or two. But I'm talking about that hot tea, the ones that you do put milk in because it's just weird not to. I don't ever remember her sparkling and doing a little spell. Do you guys? I'm sure they do mean something different with bewitched tea, but I just don't know what they're trying to say right there. All right, so he vanished, and Phoebe, lingering for a moment, saw a glimmering light and then the steady beam of a lamp in a chamber of the gable. On returning into Hepzibah's apartment of the house, she found the low-studded parlor so dim and dusty that her eyes could not penetrate the interior. It was dark inside. She was indistinctly aware, however, that the gaunt figure of the old gentlewoman was sitting in one of the straight-backed chairs, a little withdrawn from the window, the faint gleam of which showed the blanched paleness of her cheek turned sideways toward a corner. "Shall I light a lamp, Cousin Hepzibah?" she asked. "Do, if you please, my dear child," answered Hepzibah, "but put it on the table in the corner of the passage. My eyes are weak, and I can seldom bear the lamplight on them." Oh, she can't tolerate light. So maybe she can't tolerate the truth? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Always Grateful about that one whenever she gets here, probably, when I do the other live stream at 11:30. I do have to stop for a minute and do my little crafty. Yeah, is it? Oh, no. Why is this? Why? Oh, I wonder if it's not plugged in the other way. Oh, my stars. If I didn't have this plugged into the outlet all along. Let's see. I'm doing me a little wood burning crap. Yeah, it wasn't plugged in. My goodness, that is embarrassing, isn't it? But the thing is, you guys would never known if I hadn't said it. Because you can't see a darn thing I'm doing right now. Regan Crabtree says, I'm from New York originally. I have been in the Midwest for 17 years. I miss it. Love the Midwest, but not the bitter cold during the winter. Well, what do you think New York winter's like, honey? I'm sure that's a little cold myself. Are you taking a shower? You're doing what Hallgrave has suggested and just offered to be around in a ray of sunshine with your rosebud. I'm pretty sure that's what he mean. He mean to make her naked. I do believe. All right. I'm gonna Take another sip of my coffee. Give me a little bit of bean energy. Thank you, Claire. We'll see you at the actual formal book club, which this is anything but. We may just go to chapter 6 today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish all this reading by the time I have that other scheduled event. I may wrap it up in about 15-20 minutes here because I think I'm getting tired of doing this accent and talking since I got to talk again in a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Nobody knows what life has in store for us, does it? All right. So we're talking about Hepzibah not being able to take the light on her little pretty eyes there. What an instrument is the human voice! How wonderfully responsive to every emotion of the human soul! In Hepzibah's tone at that moment, there was a certain rich depth and moisture. I hate that word too. As if the words, commonplace as they were, had been steeped in the warmth of her heart. Again, while lighting the lamp in the kitchen, Phoebe fancied that her cousin spoke to her. Well, didn't she? In a moment, cousin, answered the girl. These matches just glimmer and go out. But instead of a response from Hepzibah, she seemed to hear the murmur of an unknown voice. It was strangely indistinct, however, and less like an articulate words than an unshaped sound, such as would be the utterance of feeling and sympathy rather than of intellect. So vague was that its impression or echo in Phoebe's mind was that of unreality. She concluded that she must have mistaken some other sound for that of the human voice, or else that it was altogether in her fancy. I mean, she thinks she might be going a little cuckoo and hearing stuff. She set the lighted lamp in the passage and again into the parlor. Hepzibah's form, though its sable outline mingled with the dusk, was now less and perfectly visible. In the remoter parts of the room, however, its walls being so ill adapted to reflect light, there was nearly the same obscurity as before. Cousin, said Phoebe, did you speak to me just now? No, child, replied Hepzibah. Fewer words than before, but with the same mysterious music in them. Mellow melancholy. That was kind of difficult. That little bit of alliteration there was right there, people. Mellow melancholy, yet not mournful. The tone seemed to gush up out of the deep well of Hepzibah's heart, all steeped in its profoundness emotion. There was a tremor in it, too, that, as all strong feeling is electric, partly communicated itself to Phoebe. The girl sat silently for a moment, but soon, her senses being very accurate, she became conscious of an irregular respiration in an obscure corner of the room. Her physical organization, moreover, being at once delicate and healthy, gave her perception, operating with almost the effect of a spiritual medium, that somebody was near at hand. My dear cousin, asked she, overcoming an indefinable reluctance, is there not someone in the room with us? Girlfriend, do you not hear somebody? Phoebe, my little dear girl, said Hepzibah after a moment's pause, you were up betimes and have been busy all day. Pray go to bed, for I am sure you must be in need of rest. Like, go to bed, sister, you getting a little cray here. I will sit in the parlor a while and collect my thoughts. It has been my custom for more years, child, that you have lived. While thus dismissing her, the maiden lady stepped forward, kissed Phoebe, and pressed her to her heart, which beat against the girl's bosom with a strong, high, and tumultuous swell. Uh-oh, we got a little cousin and cousin action going on. Speaking of my Floridian Alabama heart. How became there to be so much love in the desolate old heart that it could afford to well over thus abundantly? Good night, cousin, said Phoebe, strangely affected by Hepzibah's manner. If you began to love me, I am glad. She retired to her chamber, but did not soon fall asleep, nor then, very profoundly at some uncertain period in the depths of night, and as it were, though the thin veil of a dream, she was conscious of a footstep mounting the stairs heavily, but not with force and decision. The voice of Hepzibah, with a hush through it, was going up along with the footsteps, and again responsive to her cousin's voice. Phoebe heard that strange vague murmur which might be likened to the indistinct shadow of human utterance. Dun dun dun. All right, looks like I'm going to be on chapter 7, but I'm going to give myself a break from, this awesome accent I'm doing because I think I might need to go for a little tinkle. I do appreciate you guys being here, and I don't know, maybe I'll do this from time to time throughout the week to help myself stay on track with the reading. I do love you guys, and I hope you have the greatest day until I see you again in 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay? I love you, and bye bye, all. Thanks for coming.